Okay, I'm back. I'm waiting for my guest to come back. We were accidentally kicked from the stream. So, okay, we were accidentally kicked from the stream. So, we're back. I'm sorry. I'm laughing. Integrity, are you there? Okay, you're on mute, sweetie. You're on mute, Kay. Unmute yourself. Okay, I can't unmute your microphone. You have to unmute your microphone, Kay. So we were accidentally kicked from the stream. I'm going to have to go and fix my title again, but she just dropped. She'll be back. So while I'm waiting for her to come back, I was doing some research today on Robert Litchfield and these organizations that he has.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now.
Okay, I had to close out everything. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. So, like I was saying, there is sister. Hold on. Hi, sister.
Hi.
Okay, so before we get back in there, I just want people to know. So this organization, there's a bunch of them in Utah. And today I was doing some research. I don't know if you know this, but the one that's called 3 Point Center, there was a teen that was held down there with his face rubbed in the dirt. And then there was another young person that was injured due to restraints. So CPS came in, okay, and found that there was physical abuse. And the only thing they did was they gave him a citation. That's it. Oh then the one that's called Cinnamon Hills Youth Crisis Center. And this is in 2023. There was an employee there at the program in St. George that twisted a teen's arm in a restraint and fractured his elbow.
Oh my God.
So investigators noted that there were 6 specific times that this happened in this. It's a 164 bed facility. And this one is located, it's in Utah. It's on St. George Boulevard. And then in February of 2023, a staff put a child, well, he threatened the child and then put him in a gooseneck hold. And they pushed this kid's hand into his forehead. You know, I was trying to figure out how they did it, but they got a citation. And then at this youth, it's called the Youth Health Associates, and this is Eagle Academy. And this is for juvenile males with sexual misconduct. So in April of 2023, a staffer did not intervene when 2 males one male took a shovel and started beating another male, 2 of us. And then a week later, the same teen got into trouble again. Nothing happened. And then in July of 2023, there was a staffer right there while 2 young men were having sex and he did nothing to stop it.
Oh my God.
So that's in Utah. And this is just this last year. That's in Utah.
Jeez.
I just don't understand why these facilities don't have to have a license to operate.
So this is what I was going to bring that up to you too. Do you know that they put so much money into politicians?
Yeah.
Robert Litchfield donated over $125,000 in this last election, to the Trump campaign. And every time there's less legislation put forward, they storm Capitol Hill. Wow. Because it's bringing money into the state, and they feel that no federal regulations should apply to them. It should be handled in the state because the rules are so lax for Utah.
Well, what about Dr. Phil's part?
Yes, and that's what I
Right.
wanted you to talk about was the Dr. Phil part. But before we get to the Dr. Phil part, so when you were able to go out with your family, you guys had rules that you had to follow. So I have those rules, and and when I wanted, so let me just share my screen for a minute. And I know people are trying to, they're coming back now, and I'm so sorry, but the rules were, oh no, I don't want to open.
So these were rules for kids that were able to do their off grounds if they were
Yes.
level 4 and up. So mine was a seminar that I got to see the family when they came up. So we had to stay in the building. But these rules that you're about to read are for the kids that got to go off grounds.
So you never, while you were there, did you ever try to tell your mom, your dad, or your sister what was going on at that boarding school? Did you ever try to give them a heads up?
I tried through letters, but every time I did, the staff had an answer. The family rep would say, she's going to say this, she's going to say that. Do not believe her. And then at PC1, which is the seminar that the family comes to, I kept saying, like, I just want to come home. There was no way I was never alone with them. There was always people around, so I couldn't. And they would say, you'll have to stay here longer if you say anything to your parents, if you tell them anything. So they had so much control.
These rules, so I remember when Catherine said she went out with her family.
Yes.
And because it was her stepmom that sent her there.
Yeah.
And when her dad was filming her and she was saying, just take me home. So when they did show the rules and I went, look, it says, you have to sign this contract stating that this is what you're going to follow. So the rules were when you were able to be with your family, it was only for like 3 hours. You couldn't be no more than 2 hours away. And you couldn't have no tobacco, no coffee, no cappuccino, no lattes. How the hell would they know if they had that? You couldn't have on any image clothes, no phone calls with friends. How do you know your dad, if she wanted to get her dad's phone and make a call to her friend? Then it said that even if you went with your family, you couldn't have any friends over. That was dumb because you're with your family only 2 hours away. When the hell are you going unless your family lived close by?
Right.
You couldn't have no communication with friends or program people, no internet, emails or faxes, no R-rated movies or inappropriate movies, no drugs, but you're out with your parents. So why are you doing drugs? No drugs, parties, or club dancing. No inappropriate music, including MTV. I'm like, you're on an outing with your parents, okay? No manipulation about going home. No food, candy, gum, or drinks are to be brought back to the school. No driving, including all recreational vehicles. All program rules apply. Now you're with your family. They think that they can tell you what to do when you're with your parents.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was reading these rules. I'm like, who the hell are these people?
Right. And the parents had to go through seminars in order to get to this point. So they're told exactly what they have to do and how they have to act and what they have to abide by.
Yeah, because I think that we couldn't go see you for that seminar at the school until we did the 2 seminars.
Yes. Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about this circle that Catherine was talking about, that her dad was there, but she couldn't hug him. She couldn't touch him.
Yep.
Did you experience the same thing?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It was like torture because we knew that she was in front of us, but we had to have our eyes closed.
Oh my God.
Such a mind fuck.
Manipulation.
Right? Yeah.
So while you were in this boarding school, and I use that word with air quotes, while you were at this boarding school, okay, did you at any point, were there any kids around you that actually thought about running away or hurting themselves?
Yes. So there were 2 riots that happened
I
in
saw that.
that place. One was when I wasn't there, and one was when I was there. So
Okay.
everybody planned, and you're like, oh, how you couldn't talk. So I can read lips very well. If anything came out of being able to talk, I can read lips. I can tell from across the room what you're saying just by moving your lips, because that was the only way that we could communicate with each other. We couldn't talk, so we had to do lip reading.
Okay.
And
So
oh no,
oh,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm just getting mad just thinking about this. So you had to lip. So again, how did you communicate with anybody if you weren't able to talk?
You had to make a gesture with your hand to get any of the staff's attention. And there were times we could talk, but it was, like I said, for an hour during group when you were able to talk, when you had to raise your hand. That was the time you could talk. There were other times that you could talk, and that was like during we had like a gym type of thing. So they would give us certain times of the day or week, depending on how we acted, to talk. And during those times, and also when you first get there, you get assigned bunk buddy, it's called. So if you watch the documentary, you would have saw
Yes.
that the rooms are set just like jail cell rooms. There's a bunk bed on each side, a steel or wooden bunk bed on each side, and it felt like you were laying on a metal slab. You got to talk. You were allowed to talk to only your bunk buddy for the first 3 days, because they had to show you the ropes. They had to tell you the corrections. You had to memorize the corrections. You had to memorize so many things that they would give you. But whoever they set you up to be with had to be somebody who showed outstanding, like they had to work the program and they had to act like this has changed their life and this was the best place ever. So the bunk buddy that I got assigned to, thankfully, she was a down-to-earth person. She didn't treat me like crazy like some of the girls were, just to get, fake it till you make it type of thing. Because there were people that would rat you out. So you had to be careful what you said and did when you could talk, because there were people that got far in the program just by being a spy.
Just by being a rat. Just by being a
being a
snitch.
rat. Yep.
A confidential
exactly.
informant. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Look, so let me ask you, so your personality, did it change while you were there?
Yeah, because you could work the program 1 or 2 ways, and that was either fake it till you make it or just observe, sit back, be quiet, and watch. And that's what I did. I kept my guard up, and I was very quiet, and I just observed, and I followed the rules to the point where I wouldn't get in trouble. But I couldn't be my normal self, of course, So it definitely did change me, because I had to adjust to what life was like,
Okay,
in the
so
environment.
Jay, I'm gonna ask you, when Kay came home, what changes did you notice in her?
I mean, I could definitely tell she was very cautious around us. I mean, definitely trust was not there. It was like starting over again, because we lied to her. We sent her to this horrible, horrible place.
Okay.
Which is totally understandable. I've apologized to her multiple times about it. And I recognize, when she told me all this stuff, I believed her. Other people didn't, but
Okay.
I feel like that she knows that I believed her. And it is definitely hard to accept. I get so angry. I was so angry last night watching this.
I was mad, and I wasn't even there, Jay. I was pissed. I wasn't even there.
Yeah.
So I can imagine dropping your sister off to a place like that.
Yeah, and she had so much PTSD, and it caused it worse issues. She suffered because of this in the after effects, and it's just terrible to think about.
People said what made me mad is when people were like, "That saved your life. You would have been dead if you didn't go there."
No,
But
it did worse.
I was worse when I got out than I was before.
She was doing typical 17, 16-year-old things. Did she push the envelope? Not, I won't say typical because, you know, she wasn't going to high school at the time, but a lot of it, you know, my parents let her because
She
were
was the
going through
youngest.
such a messy divorce. It was awful.
Well, she did tell me that she would go out when she wanted to.
Yep.
You know, she was hanging with girls that were in 11th or 12th grade, and she was like a freshman. So she wanted to be a big girl. She was the only one at home at the time, right? Because everybody else was older.
Yeah.
So she wanted to do what she wanted to do, which is basically what most teen girls do now. But I understand they were going through a messy divorce, and they didn't know what to do with her
too, against each other. You know, it happens with messy divorces. So, I mean, and no, my parents, they tried, but you know, there was only so many things that they could also do going through what they were going through.
So now in the docu-series, I was about to say it's a docu-series, it was 3 parts. When they said that you had to leave the stall door open to the bathroom, is that true?
Oh, so we didn't have, so by the time Alexa and Catherine weren't there anymore, we didn't have any stalls on the door. Like, we didn't have any doors on the stalls. So I didn't know for over a year what it was like to go to the bathroom alone. We had to, so I'm not to be too graphic or anything, but I could not go to the bathroom for 3 months, and I'm not kidding you. They had to take me. This was the only time I got to leave the program. They had to take me. It's called Off Grounds, and I had to go to the doctors because I could not go to the bathroom. I was so uncomfortable. I peed, but I couldn't do the other thing.
You couldn't do anything else. I get it.
Yeah. And
you were constipated, and they had to flush out your system.
Yeah, they were, but first legally they had to do it in a certain way. Like, I had to see the doctor. They couldn't just give me medication. They had to have but before I could go to the doctors, they made sure to send have my parents pay for that, which was probably crazy money. Imagine paying all this stuff's out of pocket. Nothing was covered under insurance because I don't have insurance.
Yeah, but now the state of Utah offers tuition for this stuff. I forgot to tell you that too.
Oh,
now,
wow.
So you had to go to the doctor, and then again on the docu-series, you couldn't look in a mirror. What was that about?
Yep. You could not look in the mirror because they didn't want you fantasizing about how you looked. And, how they had this all set up, they instilled like Mormon values.
It's a Mormon-based program.
Yes, it's a Mormon-based program. So what we had to listen to when we would eat, so we would eat 3 times a day, and we would go into this cafeteria-looking, room, and they would loudly play the same thing over and over again. And it was kind of like, how, those people that speak and they want to give you positive advice, and what are they called?
Motivational speakers.
Yeah, motivational speakers. It would be like that, but very cultish. Not anything that like you'd be like, oh, this makes me feel better about myself. No, it would be like psycho cult speaking, motivational speaking, and they would play it over and over, and then they would play this weird music. If it wasn't that, it was this weird music over and over. You weren't allowed to talk. I was able to lie and say that I was allergic to certain things. And so because I was allergic to certain foods, I had to keep this card on me at all times. And I was able to eat peanut butter and jelly. Now, the reason why I lied and said I was allergic was because the stuff that we would find in our food would not want you to make it, would not want you to eat either. Like, the girl next to me had a cigarette butt that was cooked inside of the food.
Oh my God.
We used to pull bugs out of the food
Oh,
that was cooked into the food. It was just really nasty. The chef used to smoke and cook, and he probably had an ashtray right next to the food.
so
And
all this money your parents were paying,
yes,
they
yep,
couldn't give you decent meals.
right.
So let me
It was
ask you,
nasty.
before you went there, were you outspoken then?
Yeah. What do
Oh,
you think,
Yes.
Jay?
She definitely pushed the envelope. Like, she wanted to be like our older siblings. So like she tried to act like us. You know, just like any little sibling tries to do.
Yep, she wants to be the big, but she's the baby, so she had to. But she want to be the big kid now. But now in
Right.
this documentary, they were talking about the rituals that you guys went through for hours.
Yes.
Now, let me tell you what, this shit has been in my head all day. Palms up, palms down, palms together, palms apart, palms up, palms down, palms together, palms apart. Did you have to do that?
Yes. So when you had to do that, that was if you. There was one seminar that I didn't do, like I wouldn't go along with, and that was the first one, which was discovery. So you'd go to what's called breaking point, and when you're in breaking point, they would make you do that, recite that over and
Over
over
and
for
over
8
again
hours.
until you broke for like hours, right?
8 hours.
8 hours?
Yep.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. I definitely would have killed somebody there. I'm so sorry. I'd be in jail right now.
Well, you would get insubordination, which is a Cat 5, and they would put you in that small little room that she showed, and you would have to stay in there all day. You know, you're surrounded by four walls. There's no window, nothing, and it was horrible. And imagine when kids would come in and they would spread like the stomach bug. Oh, that would spread like wildfire. And imagine having the stomach bug and not having any comfort whatsoever of your mom or whoever, you know.
I don't want to imagine.
It was horrifying. They still made you do what you did
And you
every day.
still, yeah, and you still didn't have any privacy. You got a stomach bug. Now, how often did you girls have to undergo strip searches or yeah, that kind of stuff?
It was different all the time. If they thought a pen was missing, because you know the dorm parent stuck it on her shirt and she lost it, you know, in one of her rolls. She would that happened before. It fell in her
So
shirt.
wait a minute. They would strip search you if a pen was missing?
Yes. Where's the pen? Where's the pen?
What did they think you're going to do with the pen?
Stab someone with it, or I don't even know.
See, that's what I'm telling you. I'll be in jail by now. I'm telling you, I will probably just
be a
be getting out.
vacation. Jail would be a vacation.
Yeah, jail was a vacation because remember, at this point, jail you were still able to smoke inside. So we would fantasize, oh, if we could only be at jail, at least we could smoke a fucking cigarette, you know?
Oh my God. So besides Caroline, are there any other girls that you were there with that you still have communication with?
Oh yeah. So we're part of a group and we all stay connected. So what we would do is we had this journal and if we got caught writing phone numbers down, we would get in trouble. So we created a unique way to write numbers down without writing a number down. So we would hide it in the words of our journal. So we would write out the number 1 instead of writing the number 1. And we would hide each other's numbers in our journaling. And so when we got out, what we promised each other, we would call the other one's parents. So I had a list of girls, I called their parents to tell them, please go get your kid. Please go get her. This place is horrible. It's not what you think. I have nothing to gain from this. Like, you need to know the truth. Believe your kid. Get them out, please. I literally, when I got out, I called a list, and almost all of them went and got their kid. Not even kidding. And then a year after that, the place got shut down.
Yeah. So, okay. So here's the thing. Miss Sissy, that was there in the restaurant with Catherine, was she
Yes.
there when you were there?
She was there for a little bit, and then I didn't know her like they all knew her. I would hear about her. So when she was there, she was the worst one that everybody would say they hated. When I was there, Miss Amy was the worst one. So if you had to deal with her, Miss Amy used to eat candy right in front of your face and chomp on it, and eat ice cream right in front of us. And we were only allowed to have a piece of chocolate one time a week on Sundays, and they would time us. And then holidays, what they would do on holidays was they would have your family send you a homemade box of candy. Yep. And it could be whatever candy you wanted. Now, this was only on Christmas and your birthday. And so my family was asking me, what kind of candy do you want? And you're allowed to choose certain people that could eat it with you. And you could carry it around with you all day. So, of course, because we never got to eat candy on that day, we would get so sick the next few days because all we did was eat our candy, because that was only time in a year. Some people were there for 3 years. It was the only time that you could really eat anything that was sweet.
So you were only there for how long?
I was there a little over a year. It was like a year and 4 days.
And the reason you left is because you turned 18.
Yes. And so they wanted to create an exit plan. And then at first, like I said, they agreed with what the exit plan was. Like, oh, Kayla, you're going to go to a convent and blah, 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 blah. And then finally, they would hint that I was coming home, but they didn't. So you're not allowed to know when you're getting pulled, which is when your family comes and gets you. So I didn't know, but they would kind of hint it. Like my sister that's on here, she'd be like, yes, don't worry, everything is going to be better soon. You'll see. And she was going to come get me with my dad, but she wasn't able to. So my other sister and my dad are the ones who came to pick me up. So what happened was I woke up that day and they call your name. They go, come with me. They don't tell you what's going on. And they walk you to the front door and they go, okay, you're going home. And that's when you see a family. And then they throw out all your stuff in a trash bag. And
so just like you were leaving prison.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so I watched when Catherine's sister Claire, and that's what I want to ask you, Jay. When Catherine was sitting there talking to Claire, I'm imagining you're feeling the same way Claire was feeling when your sister is telling you all of these things that happened.
Oh, I still feel terrible about it. I get angrier and angrier about it every single time I hear like more stuff, because she's told me all this stuff, and we've had conversations about it, like, since she's gotten out. But this show coming out, I've also listened to all of Caroline's, like, the program she does, a podcast. I've listened to all of those.
Yes.
It makes me so angry that these people, especially Litchfield, isn't in jail. Like these people.
He hasn't been seen around. His estate that he has in Utah. Oh my God.
Even the people that work in these programs need to pay for working in these programs, because I'm an educator and I'm sorry, but you do not treat children like this if you are in your right mind. These people are pedophiles, they're abusers, they're not licensed. It makes me so angry to think about that these people need to pay for working in these facilities and doing the wrong thing.
And did you see Miss Sis's reaction when she was talking about certain things?
She
was getting excited.
Yeah.
So Norville is the brother. Now the son was on part 3. He became a principal at the age of 23 with no accreditations, no nothing.
Yep.
And then you were telling me, Kay, that your diploma that you received, the school wasn't even accredited.
Yeah, so they didn't tell our parents that. They didn't tell our parents that they weren't getting accredited for anything. They kept that on the down low. And even New York was actually, I don't know if it was the New York Times. So when you think of New York, you think of Manhattan, you think of, places.
Upstate New York, you
Yeah.
think of, Long Island, all that kind of stuff, but not the country part. Yeah.
Yes, we were in so upstate New York that we were 30 minutes from Canada. So we were
cows and up by the Amish country.
Yes.
Yeah, you out there.
Yeah.
Okay. I know where you were. I've gone through there.
So because when I tell people I was at a place in New York, they're like, oh, well, what? They think I'm talking like about, oh, I was in Brooklyn or I was or something like that, So we were very secluded. And the guy that ran the education department, he just kept bullshitting everybody. And
he couldn't even write and use proper English or grammar. Come on now.
Yeah, I know. You saw that? Yeah. Oh my God. He was a airhead. The director, Jason Finlayson, he was such a hothead. Like, he was horrible. He is just, his wife ended up leaving him. His daughters don't talk to him. Like, he would always have his wife and daughter, like they were like the perfect, cookie cutter family. And she would come in all the time. Now, towards the end of my stay, they let us have a cheerleading team and a basketball team.
Ooh.
And people from the town were coming to watch the games because they would play against us. Now, keep in mind, we had kids from everywhere. So we had the guys that was the only other time we got to see the boys too, was during the game. We were lucky enough to go watch it. So we had people from like LA, Brooklyn, like we would just beat all these teams that were from the areas surrounding that would play against us.
So that was the only time you were actually having a good time.
Yes. And that would happen like once a month, maybe. I think there was only a couple of them I was able to attend to because it wasn't often. And the upper levels were the only ones that got to be cheerleaders, of course. And it was a whole nother world being an upper level. You got to have a door on your room. You got to wear makeup. You got to have off-ground visits. But like I said, some of the staff would befriend some of those parents. So some people fake it till you make it. That's why they were upper levels. Some people really did put in the hard work and they were able to get there.
Now, I asked you what your nickname was before, and I don't remember you ever saying it.
Like seminar talk or whatever, like
seminar talk.
No, like the seminar lingo, like how they call her mistake.
Yes. Everybody had a nickname. So what did they give you? Because this other young woman, like I said, Alexa, she was a mistake, and then they started calling her trashy mistake.
Yeah. So they would say like abandoned. They would say that. They would say all kinds of words like that because you had to say like what your worst fear, the worst thing you went through, and that's what they would.
That's what they would torture you with and label you with.
Yeah, exactly.
So when Alexa lost her father, she was a young girl, and they sat there and had this girl write a letter stating that she was sorry that she killed her dad, and to tell this young woman that the world would have been a better place if you would have died in place of your father. That was disgusting to me.
Yes, and they also had us write something called a confession letter. And you had to write every horrible thing you ever did in this letter. You had to be very specific, and if it wasn't good enough, they would make you go back and rewrite it again. And
I remember your confession letter.
yes, and the dorm moms, which every day we would have a different dorm mom, and they were the ones that would take us to everything we did that day. And we had this one dorm mom that literally got off on the fact of reading these confession letters. Like, she was literally getting off on it.
How
And
bad
it
was
was
your
so
confession letter?
creepy.
How bad was it?
Really bad.
Well, I heard Alexis when she was saying that she was selling her body for drugs, and she was out on the street corner sucking peanuts to get crack and meth, and she had never did a drug in her life, but she made it. She said that if you didn't say certain things, you would lose points. How often did you lose points?
Oh, all the time. So the same computer that we used to do the schooling on was the same computer we had to go to do our reflections at the end of the night. And that's where the dorm parents grade your behavior, and they can take points away from you or they can give you points. So at the end of the night is when you would find out
If you lost points.
if you lost points or gained them. Yes. And you can also, so this whole time I was saying you would get corrections, which would take points off of your off of the points that you had. They called it selfing. So they were selfing and staffing. Staffing is when the upper levels or the staff gave you a correction, and then selfing it was when you gave yourself a correction. So if you did something that you did not, that no one knew you did it, you could literally write yourself up.
So let me ask you, they're going after the staff that's there. Now, I know they were talking to Phil Elberg, and he sued a lot of these facilities. If there is a class action lawsuit, would you sign up for that?
Oh, 100%. Definitely.
So why haven't you taken part in going before Congress and testifying about what they did to you? Because I see Caroline is there. I saw Paris Hilton was there. Have you ever been asked to join that coalition?
So, I mean, it wasn't something that you needed to be really asked. Like, you could definitely let them know, because they would say, who wants to come with us, if you could come. Now, keep in mind, when all this really started and becoming hands-on was during the pandemic. So you can see a lot of the pictures and videos of Caroline and Paris Hilton. When they would go do all this, you could see them all wearing masks. So at the same time, they did try to limit, I think, who attended certain things. Now, the people who started from the beginning speaking out, as things went on, they really got close. And so they formed, their own, it seemed like, group kind of thing. So that's why not everybody joined in, not everybody could. They were flying all over the United States. So I assume they all paid for themselves. You know what I mean? So it had to do with, I have kids, my job, life, and I just never really got the chance to join. But I definitely, so this is the other thing. From all of us being there, we never got a prom. So someone threw a huge prom for anybody that didn't get to go to a prom. And they did that in LA. So they're going to do an East Coast one.
That's good.
They're going to create a huge event and make it just like a prom, because we didn't get that. We didn't get a prom.
So I want to know right now about Dr. Phil. What part does he play in this?
So what's that girl's name? Baby. He sent her there. That girl that Catch Me Outside. How about that? That girl.
Yeah, catch. Yes. Okay.
So she was on a show, as you know, a couple times, and he
Mm-hmm.
sent her to a program, but the one that she went to was the nature one, the one where they have to sleep in sleeping bags outside, they have
Yes.
to make fires, all that.
Mm-hmm.
And he was affiliated with WASP. So he was right wrapped amongst all of this. He was helping send kids to these programs. He worked hand in hand, and he was affiliated with all of these programs. Mr. Dr. Phil.
Mr. Dr. Phil.
He has been called out. I think he did make a statement at one point, but it was just some bullshit. Like, he didn't take any accountability whatsoever.
Well, I went looking today because I remember you telling me about Dr. Phil, and he has sent a couple of kids to different programs.
Yes.
And these are all basically WATS programs.
Yep.
Worldwide Association of Specialty Programs in Schools. Yeah, right. This is a torture program. So let me just ask you this one too. When you were finally able, when your father and your sister picked you up, you weren't able to say bye to any of the guys, any of the girls that were there.
Right. I couldn't say, but well, as I was walking out, everybody knew, and they cried and they were like, "Don't go." Like, we would cry when we saw anyone leave, or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they would lie and they're like, "Oh, you have an appointment to go to. We're taking you off grounds. Let's go." Because they could never tell us in advance, because they would say, "Oh, she might have run plans." That's what they call it. So I left some stuff behind, that I had, so that they could use it,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. It was really sad. But while I was at the program, okay, there was stuff that happened when I was gone. Everybody was calling my phone. My sister, my other sister that helped bring me there,
Mm-hmm.
she thought it was cool to hold on to my cell phone, and I was so mad because she supposedly left it in a rental. And this was my phone. It had, it was a Razor.
Yep.
Remember the Razors?
I remember those. Yes, I
Every
remember those.
she was answering my phone. So when people were calling asking where I was, she's like, I don't know. What did she say, Jay?
I just think that she said you were away, or like
But
she's
she would fight with some people, though, right?
yeah,
Wasn't she like cussing people
yeah,
out?
yeah.
And she doesn't. She will not accept that place was the way it was. She
Did
thinks,
she watch the program?
I don't know. I sent her the link. Me and her are not talking right now. I sent her the link, and I don't know if she watched it, but she will not. She will, till she's blue in the face, she will say that was the best decision that
Of
was
course,
ever
because
made.
she doesn't want to face the fact that
Yep.
you went to a torture camp, a scare straight program, basically human trafficking, except for they weren't trafficking you out for prostitution or anything else, but that's basically what it was.
Yes.
So, and that's the way when I watched this, the first thing came to my head. And then when I read an article today, and I was like, oh my God, that's the same shit I said. I said that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
when they tried to name this recreation center in Utah after Robert Litchfield, there was people that had left the program that had been, they graduated, whatever. They all converged in Hurricane, Utah,
Wow.
to protest his name going on a building. The mayor said that he's the one that put the money up in the building. So she went to him knowing what's been said, knowing what's happened. She still wants to put his name on that building.
Disgusting.
It's disgusting. And all of these people are in an uproar about it. But Litchfield, when all of this stuff was coming out back in 2013, he gave an interview to the New York Times. And he stated he only supplied business, and educational services to the programs. He said, I wasn't there. I didn't abuse or mistreat students, nor did I encourage or direct someone else to do so. So my thing is, he said he provided business services that were non-supervision care or treatment services to schools that were independently owned and operated. My thing is, the way he set these programs up, he is so far removed, you can't touch him.
Yes, because everybody asks, why don't you just sue him? It's harder than people think. That's why I'm happy they, on the 3rd episode, they really explained in a way that is hard for most of us to explain, you know?
Yep, and that's what I was thinking, because I was looking at and all these different schools in Utah, in Texas. The one in Costa Rica was shut down,
yes,
and was reopened a few months later,
right,
under a different name.
Yes, that's what they
The
did.
same person was there in charge.
Yep. And there's still places open today that, you know, just like on the docuseries, how they pretended, Catherine pretended that she had a child that she
an
yes.
adopted child.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the government is wrapped up in it, and they make money.
I told you they were putting a lot of money into these politicians. So what about this young man that was at the school, and they tackled him, held him down, and his mother had died. He was put in foster care, and then he was sent to one of these programs, and they actually killed this young man with the chokehold they had on him.
Yes. He threw a piece of bread. Is that the one that he threw a piece of bread? Oh my God. He was so, I felt so bad when I saw that. I was like, he looked like a sweet kid. And even if he wasn't a sweet kid, you don't do that.
He didn't want to be there.
No.
They threw him into this program, and he did not want to be there. And
terrifying.
This happened at one of the facilities in Utah, and you can watch. These kids weren't moving. They were just sitting there eating like this is an everyday occurrence. That tells you this happens all the time.
Yep, PTSD.
Yeah. Yep, and it's absolutely horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. I can't believe that this goes on. And
yep, his mom died. I think she died of cancer. He was put in foster care, and I guess they couldn't handle him, so that's the program they sent him to. Wow. And he wound up being killed inside of this facility.
There's a lot. I guarantee you, there was a case where that judge, I don't know if you heard of it, and I can't think of it, but the judge was sending kids to this, like a school, and I'm wondering if it's one of these program things. I'll have to do.
It's probably. I'm gonna have to look into that. But and
they exposed him.
Yeah, I'm serious. I was watching, and then when Catherine sat with that senator, and I was watching him, he was killed. When she was sitting there talking to that senator, and
what?
He was like, he was going to watch the docuseries. He said that he would be what?
He was killed? Is that what you said?
Yes, he was killed inside that facility in Utah. They put him in that hole.
I misheard you. I thought you said the senator was like.
No.
Shortly after this, I'm like, what?
No, the senator said he was going to watch, and he says that there needs to be more regulations.
Yeah.
And I like when Catherine went, and she went to that karaoke bar where Norville was, and she got up singing One Way or Another. I'm gonna get you. I was laughing my ass off.
I wanted to know what they were saying, because you could see Litchfield, saying something to the guys that he was at the table. I want to know if they I just wish that their mic was able to pick up.
Yeah, but when she went to that breakfast with Miss Sissy, she was telling her that what's his name wife had worked there, one of the administrators.
Georgia Tulip.
Yeah. And they wanted, and when they walked over and asked them to leave, I was like, oh my God. Then they tried to interview this other they didn't want to talk about
at the
anything.
church. Yes,
Yeah,
the guy at the church that took
the
all
pastor,
the photos.
the pastor.
Yes, he was a creep. He was there when I was there, obviously.
I was looking at him. I'm gonna tell you what. Let me tell you what I thought. I said, he's a pedo.
Yes.
First thing I said,
100%.
he was so defensive. And I said, oh, he's a pedo.
Yes.
He's a pedo.
Yep. Why would he want to spend his time taking picture of little girls? Come on.
I said he's a pedo. And with that, and Jay, I'm serious. I feel for you. I really do. I feel for Kay because she went through this, and not just her, but you all went through this as a family.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he had to pay more than $2 million.
$200 million. This guy.
$200 million.
Yep.
To hundreds of people that they victimized oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So Christopher Connor is his name. He had to pay $106 million in compensatory damages and $100 million in punitive damages to nearly 300 people in a long-running civil suit against the judge. So Dr. Phil should be made to pay too.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So when I found the school in Nova Scotia, it's called the Nova Scotia School for Colored Kids, for colored children. It was basically like the school that you went to. They just paid over 300 students $34 million.
Wow.
For the torture that they did. The girls.
That's the other thing, though. They left all this documentation.
I saw that.
All our files with
all their files, videos. So this is the other thing. The state of New York needs to answer for all of this.
Yeah.
Because they let them continue to operate knowing that they were not licensed and they were lying to parents. They continue to let this happen. So in all of these parents that were sending these kids, the majority of them have a lot of money. You had to in order to send them.
Yes.
So why aren't these parents who have a lot of money suing the state of New York or somebody?
They're embarrassed. They're embarrassed.
They don't want to accept the fact that they sent their kids to an abusive place.
We have
Kay, I want to know, why haven't you sued them? Seriously.
I don't even know where to start. That's why I never did, because I never thank God all this has came out, because it really has given us sources.
I think you guys need to do a class action lawsuit against that program, against him. I also do believe that. Have you asked for your file? Have they found your file yet?
So what they did was, the girl that you saw on the docuseries, she Katie, I think it was. She grabbed as much as she could. She literally did this whole documentation file that
I saw that. It took her 6 months.
Alphabetical order.
Oh my God.
Yep. And if you saw your name on it, she had your file, and you were to, DM her on Facebook, and all you had to do was pay for shipping, of course. And that was it. And there were times where she would come across more documents, and she was like, don't worry, I'm just going to ship it to you. She wouldn't charge anything. It was all about getting you your personal information. They want, everybody wanted to make sure everyone got it. And there was, now, some people we went there with, we've lost a lot of people to suicide.
I was about to ask, what's the suicide rate for that? And I forgot, I wanted to look that up for anybody that attended especially the academy at Ivory Ridge. But I said I was going to look into the suicide rate for kids that went to these types of programs, because I know there was one program that they had in Texas where boys and girls were being abused and AR'd, and one I think it was a young man, disappeared one night, and to come to find out that he had been abused and being sexually molested, and he actually hung himself.
Yes. Yep. I don't know what the rate is, but I just know that we've lost a lot of people that we went there with, that we were close with.
I'm making myself a note to look that up. Okay.
Literally every year, I hear that a couple people have passed, or a couple to a few people every year. I just found out the other day of another person that I was friends with there that passed.
I mean, after watching that program, I was like, every one of those kids should have been offered some type of therapy. So for you, the fact that you didn't have an accredited diploma, how did that affect you, or did it affect you at all?
Well, it did for self-value, I guess you could say. Like
Because you did the work
I
to
did
get
all
your
the work,
diploma.
but some places honored it. Like, what depend where you live, they would honor it. However, to do what I do for a living, it doesn't matter either way, to be honest. And there's no digital lookup of a diploma. So you either have it or you don't have it. They don't care about the details. So honestly, I just say I have it. And with my special circumstance, I feel like I have a right to say that. I don't ever have to show proof of it because they don't care. The only thing they care as far as jobs is if you have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, even associate's degree, I think you have to show proof of.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter. If I wanted to go to a 4-year college, I would probably have to,
Get your GED.
maybe, I don't know if they
But
would
then again, they
accept.
might honor it because you did put the work into
Right.
it. You
I
were
did
doing the
so
work.
much.
But you had idiot teachers. I'm sorry.
Right. But the program, the program they were using, though, was a legit program, thank God.
Okay.
It wasn't like they were handing us paperwork and they were like, okay, you've passed this test, you passed that test, just like you do in school. This was an actual home-based schooling, but the catch is it has to be credited by the state that you're doing it in, and it was not. So that's why it was all for nothing. Everything we did was for nothing. And they were actually, some people got diplomas that were actually fake. So they were sending them fake diplomas.
So Michelle is stating, so they were burning the files. And I was trying to understand what files were they burning, because they had videotapes, they had evidence of the abuse. So what were they burning? And I kept rewinding to see, do you know what they were burning?
I think they were just burning stuff that they could that just as like a therapy thing that they could let go of, that I'm sure they had copies of whatever was important.
Okay.
Also, some of the files that were in there weren't even legible. They were literally molded asbestos covered paper. So, I don't know if they were just burning, stuff that was not saved. And to them, it was just so therapeutic to burn a piece of something that was from that place.
Now, they abandoned that school, but why would you leave everybody's personal information?
So
I mean,
somebody bought it. So this businessman bought it, and he was going to turn it into a Chinese school, Chinese speaking school. And I don't know. There were rumors that he owned so much stuff that he just never did anything with that. And, but what we're nervous of is there are people that are going there, breaking into the place
and getting stuff.
Not us. Yes. And they're vandalizing it. And we're nervous after a certain point, they might just knock it down because it's so badly vandalized.
Okay. I saw all the spray painting, and you tried to take our souls. I saw all of that, but that was from people that actually went there. My question is, and I'm not gonna hold you too much longer. When your father and your mother found out about this place, or when you had this conversation with them, did they believe you?
Well, I never really sat down and talked about it with my dad because he's a lot different than how my mom processes things. My dad is very tough love. I think in his heart, he knows he knows that it wasn't the right place to have me at, but I never got to have that conversation. That's why I want him to watch the docuseries, because
So
I
he
feel
hasn't
like
watched it yet.
no, and I feel like they explain stuff in a way that no matter how I explain it, he's just not going to understand in that way. I feel like he needs to watch it and hear it from someone else. And I know to some people that's going to sound horrible to say or hear.
I had a conversation with him about it last night, and he was very defensive at first. And I had to say, listen, Dad, you think I'm not attacking you. You were manipulated and lied to. So this really, you thought you were sending her to a school that she was going to get her diploma. She was going to get the therapy that she needed. That's what you thought. My dad did everything he could so that he could see her. And then when it came time to pick her up, he went right and picked her up. So like he was upset to send her there. And my dad, you have to understand, he does not like to part with his pennies. Okay. So for him,
that's how the rich stay rich. Look, that's how the rich stay rich.
Yeah,
okay?
For him to spend the amount of money he did to send her, he cares about her, and he's probably so angry.
He's angry because he didn't protect his daughter.
And that's the amount of money that he spent that he wasn't able to protect her.
Yeah, and that's what I'm serious. I think if your dad watched this, it'll break him in a point where he probably will start crying, because he's going to see what you went through, and in his head, he's going to go, I wasn't there to protect my child. And then he's going to have so many questions for you, but I wouldn't pressure him to watch it. Right. He has to come to terms that he needs to see it.
He said he was going to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah. And my mom apologizes all the time. Like, she really does say she's so sorry. And I think parents are the first to really get defensive about this, because
they thought they were doing what was right for their child.
Yes, and they don't want.
If I would have sent my son to a place like that, I would have gone there. The first time I went and saw him, I would have knew something was wrong. I'm not saying that but that's why everybody's eyes were closed and all of this stuff. I would have looked at my son and saw something was wrong, and I would have tore that whole damn school apart. But when they started observing him in class, it wasn't, and they all came to the same thing. There's nothing wrong with him. He just wants his way. So then I took him to see a psychologist. Once that doctor told me that, I said, oh, I'm gonna whip your ass every chance I get. But he wasn't cutting up at home, and he made straight A's. He was bored. So what they did was, when he was in 4th grade, he was actually attending classes for 5th and 6th grade in certain subjects, because they tested him.
Right.
And that's it. Like, now they have, I forgot what the program is called, because Kayla and Justin are in these programs. I think they call A programs or whatever, where you're in this higher level for math and science and all this
advanced.
Yeah, advanced. Right? Yes, because they're bored, and so they give you that work to keep your mind occupied.
Yeah.
But when they tested him, and I'm gonna have Nathan come up and tell you about that story. But when they tested him, they had to put it in other classes to keep him engaged, because once he finished his work, he would destroy. He would just cut up in class. Cut up.
So he just had to be kept busy at all times.
Yeah, he had to be kept busy. Yes. Mm-hmm. So, and I was thinking with Senate, because he had to earn points. See, just like I was he had to earn points to be able to come home on the weekends. He had to earn points to be able to play, video games and stuff like that. They would put him on a point system. Yeah. When I watched that program, I said, oh, I would be in jail right about now.
You dodged a bullet.
I dodged a bullet, but I damn sure did. They said, well, we'll send some people in to observe. I said, okay, that's fine, because I was getting tired of getting calls from the school. He's doing this, he's doing. I was like, oh Jesus. So I said, okay, I'm taking your ass somewhere. So the psychologist, and then he sent someone to watch him in class. And then they started coming around and talking to the neighbors. And they were all telling him he's the sweetest little kid. And he is, but he would be in school and he would just be, and this went on for damn near a year and a half.
And now what does he do? And now what does he do? He's in the service. All
yeah,
his sons.
Yep, he is. Yep, he went to college. I remember my uncle told him when we moved from Virginia Beach, he said, if you ever graduate high school, I'm coming wherever you are. He said, either that or you're going to go to jail, because that's how bad he was in school. When I called my uncle and I told him he was graduating, I never told him he was getting honors. I never told him that he had received stuff. When my uncle got there and they called him up on stage and he had tears coming out, he was like, oh my God, my boy. I said, graduated with honors. He was in the top 20 of his class. And,
awesome.
And he went to the high school for law enforcement and criminal justice.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And now he's over. Where is he? Isn't he?
He is in England now.
England now. Wow.
Yeah.
And he's in the service, right?
Yes, he's an E7 in the Air Force.
Wow. All the boys.
Right? And then my middle son retired as an officer in the Army, and my oldest son is a special agent in DC.
Wow.
Crazy.
And he was ex-military too. He served in the Air Force, and then he got his master's, and then he went to DC. He got his master's at the University of Maryland. He went back to the East Coast, and then he was accepted into the federal government, and then he had to go. And it was so funny because they have to wear suits the whole time they're in training. And he had to go buy suits. And he was like, man. Then he said, I said, boy, you look good in a suit. He goes, so, but
one thing, handsome.
Yeah. And but one thing people don't realize too, when you work for the government, he has a government issued vehicle. He can drive it, but he can't have his kids or the wife in it. So he'll go home, park his government issued car, and then jump in his car and go pick up his kids. He said he would never take the chance, even though the school is on his way home. He still goes home, drop off the car, and picks up his car and go back and get the kids.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Hi, Alvin. But is there anything else that you want to let us know about this school that we haven't covered?
Yeah. So luckily, my parents were able to pay it outright. There are still parents paying off loans to this.
Yeah, because they took out loans, private loans, to send their kids to these schools.
Yes, they would pressure. They found emails of the director writing to the emailing the not the dorm moms, the oh my God, I'm so tired I can't even think of the family.
I know you're tired because you just got from work.
Yes, I just got off work right before I came on. So the family reps, they found emails between the family reps and the director on
the parent reps.
Yes. Yep. The parent reps.
Okay.
They found emails between them on what tactics to do if they were late on their loan or their payment was late, or how to manipulate them. They would give them a discount. Everybody paid a different price. Not anyone paid the same
price.
So they were kids there that their parents didn't have a lot of money, so they paid a different amount. They were parents that were literally forced to take out this loan, that loan, this loan, multiple loans. But
why are they still paying something back when the school is now defunct?
Because they owe the loan company still.
Credit cards.
Because the school, so the program got the money, but the loan people are, still owed all that money.
Oh, I would go to court and fight that especially when all of this is coming out. And, I mean, anybody who didn't watch it, you really need to watch the program. It's on Netflix, Cons, Cults, and Kidnapping. And there were a lot of kids that were severely abused. Some of them were sexually assaulted. And I mean, that young man that they had on the program, he looked like he was about to break. And when he did start crying, I was like,
know.
oh, and he couldn't stand being there.
Yes. The
Yeah.
other two guys that were shown on there, they were there when I was there.
Okay, so your integrity family consisted of how many girls were in your family? Because I know
Probably about-
everybody had, you know, each group had a family. So
Yeah.
how many girls were in your family?
About 20, 30 sometimes. Those pictures that I sent you
Yes.
showing of us, they would take that once a month, I think, or every 2 months or 3 months. I don't even remember.
Yep.
But it would fluctuate. So when I first went there was probably about 200 girls and 300 boys or vice versa. And then when I left before it got shut down, there was like maybe 80 boys left and like 60 girls. And I'm like, where did they go? Most of them went home. Some people got sent to other programs.
So if you didn't behave there, they would send you to from where you were. They would send these kids to Costa Rica.
Or Jamaica, when it was open.
Jamaica. Yes.
When it was open. So our place, out of all the programs that existed, ours was the worst. And then after hours was Jamaica. So if you got kicked out of any program, you would get sent to ours. If you got kicked out of our program, you would get sent to Jamaica.
So Jamaica is Tranquility Bay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where they would shower in buckets and they were fed fish nonstop with the bone in it. And think of the fishiest fish you can eat, not cod, not salmon, but like I don't even know what kind of fish they ate.
I like trout. I like bones. The only thing I don't have bones in is when I eat salmon. Okay, so other than that, I like trout. I like bass. I like croaker, and I don't like fillet. I like to have my fish with the bone. So when I would go to the fish market, I'm like, I said, I want the bone. Leave some meat on it.
Oh my gosh! So hey,
I'm from Louisiana. Come on now.
Yeah, no, true. Oh my God, no, but that's like it was horrible.
But Jay, I'm serious. So because I know you watched it, and after seeing all of this, and I know Kay has told you a lot with this, how do you think? I would sue. I mean, what do you think Kay should do?
They definitely they do have a support group. They need to band together and find an attorney that can take this on.
Phil Elberg. He had sued a lot of these places and he has won. Get yourself I'm not even going to say it because people are going to think I'm racist if I say it. But get yourself a good lawyer out of New York, and you know what I mean. Okay, get yourself a good lawyer out of New York.
I think that they should go after the state of New York, is what I think.
You need to do a class action lawsuit, especially after this docuseries, especially after, and if you can just go look at all of these facilities that this man has tried to distance himself from, but they're all under different names, but they're all falling under that same program. And he has every bit. I would go after him so hard. His own son doesn't want anything to do with him. Because he said he treated them like shit.
Oh, I can only imagine.
So Grass Toucher has a question. Jay, as her sister, what are you most proud of when you look at Kay, seeing at where she's at in life now?
Her perseverance.
Exactly.
Yep. Because I mean, there's kids who have witnessed that abuse, have been abused in those programs, and they could not persevere through, and she has. So definitely her perseverance.
Yep. I tell her all the time how proud I am of her for everything that she's doing and the things she wants to accomplish. And I have to be reminded today that it's almost 4 years that I've known you, Kay.
Oh my gosh.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, I can't believe it. It goes by so fast.
I know. I was like, oh my God. But
Oh,
I had to be reminded of that. I'm like, oh my God, it has been that long. We're in 2024. So coming up around August, September, it will be 4 years.
wow. Oh, I love
It will
that.
be 4 years. And I know lately, and we used to talk all the time, but I've been really, really busy, and I'm so proud of you for the stuff that you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. And I know your daughter looks up to you because she sees what a strong woman you are.
Yeah,
And she has a great role model in you.
thank you. I
It,
just learned anything I've gone through to just, don't treat them the way I would have never wanted to be treated. These kids will always, no matter what, be by my side. Like I look at it in a positive way from my parents is I'm going to do what they didn't do or what they should have done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to instill that in my parenting with my kids.
And
Yep.
she
You
has.
and I talked on the
She
phone
has.
that day. And, like I used to always tell my sons, no matter what it is, you can tell me anything.
Yes.
Just don't lie to me because no matter what, I'm going to have your back.
Right.
Don't ever lie to me. And when they got older, I was like, okay, I really don't want to hear this. I really don't want to know this. But they're like, no, we can tell you anything. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear this. But let me tell you before I get out of here, I think I've already told you this, but when I went to school one day, because I got a call about Nathan. So I go to school and we had to have a meeting in a principal's office, and which it wasn't in the office, it was around this little conference thing and everything. So I go to the school, and so Nathan wasn't in the conference. So I said, I want you to go to class and get my son. I want him in here. Well, no, I want to talk to you. I said, no, I want you to get my son and I want you to bring him in here. So they went to get him. When the teacher was talking to me and I'm listening to her and I'm like, okay, I know damn well Nathan didn't do this. So I looked at Nathan. I said, so tell me what happened. So he was telling me, and I'm looking at him. That's one thing he won't do is lie. And he was telling us, so the teacher tells me, that's what's wrong right now. People listen to their kids. And I said, girl, I jumped up. I said, I did. I went off on her and I told her, I want him pulled from her class. I don't want him in there because the next time I come here, and if it's behind her, I will drag her across the school ground. And they transferred him that day. I'm telling you. Because when my son sits there and tells me something, and Nathan cannot lie. I'm serious. If I ask him a question, he'll be like, what? Huh? He's a grown man now, and this is what he does, huh? What? What did you say? I said, you heard me. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about, because he won't lie to me. So I'm like, oh, you little bastard. That's what I'm telling him. But and that's the way I did the same with my grandkids. Don't ever lie to me. When my granddaughter was telling me something, I just listened to her and I looked at her and I picked up the phone and I called her dad. I said, this is what's going on. And he was like, why didn't she tell me? I said, you need to ask her that. And it wasn't a time where I said, are you sure? Is this true? Because I knew she wouldn't tell me something if it wasn't true.
Right.
So the same thing that happened, with her in Vegas. She was getting it. This teacher, and my son was going along with what they were. I was on the speakerphone because his wife had me on speaker, and I started screaming through the phone. And I heard Nate goes, "Oh, he did." He said, "Oh shit," and I said, "Don't you let these people tell you anything about what she's doing. She calls me every day and tells me the shit that goes on in that classroom." I said, "You need to remove her from that school or get her out of that teacher's classroom," and that's what happened. And everything was fine after that. So I went off, and then the woman was talking something. I said, it's not a problem. I'll fly to Vegas right now. I'll come see you, and I'll be on the next flight back to Texas. I said, it don't matter to me. And I meant that. Because
you stand your ground.
The problem with some of the parents is they listen to what the teachers are telling you. If you know your child, you know what your child is capable of doing and what he's not going to do.
Right.
You
it
always
all comes down to your kid.
child.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm serious. I just don't play those kind of games. And but Nathan got me really good one day. He was in 12th grade, and he was working at Marathon, and I got a call from him. He said that the teacher was trying to take his phone, and he's off campus, meaning, he's off campus because he was go to school half a day, then go to work. And I was like, what do you mean he's trying to take your phone? He goes, yeah, I'm calling to try to find out where my ride is because I don't see her. And he's coming up talking, he's taking my phone. I said, oh my God. I said, okay. I called and I got that teacher on the phone and went off on him. Well, the teacher told me that Nathan was standing in the middle of the cafeteria on his phone, but the teacher walked up to Nathan the next day and apologized to him. So I told him he took that phone, he's going to pay for that phone. And I went off. So he apologized to Nathan and said that they got off, it was a misunderstanding. So then when Nate got home that day, I said, explain to me how are you off campus and you're standing in the middle of the cafeteria on your phone? Nathan tells me, technically, I'm off campus. I said, that's it. Technically, he was off campus, but he was on school grounds on his phone.
Wow.
He knew how to play me. He really
yes,
did.
That's one thing kids know how to do. They definitely know.
He did. He told me technically, no, he said, if you want to be technical about it, I was off campus because it was after 12. I said, you know what? I said, boy, don't play with me no more. He was like, what did you say to him? Because I said, I went the F off. And I told him he ever tries to touch that phone, it'll be the last phone he touched. And I did. I went off on this man. I really did.
Bet he never did it again.
Nope. He apologized to Nathan and said that was a misunderstanding.
Wow.
Wow.
And when he told me that he was in the cafeteria, I heard him, but I kept going. I said, I'm going to get this motherfucker when he gets home. I did. Because I went off on this man because my son calls and tells me this man's trying to take his phone. And I was like, yeah, okay. But anyway, I really want to thank you, Kay and Jay, for coming up. And for everybody that did not watch it, please go watch the program.
It will be able to answer questions that
yes.
So I want to know if you guys have any questions before we get out of here. I wanted her to get out, I mean, is there anything that we missed that happened to you that we didn't cover? I mean, because I want you to be able to say what you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, something I've learned is there's always going to be stuff that comes up later that, I don't recount every little thing. And that's why I liked watching the docuseries, because it brought up stuff that I totally forgot about that even happened, or I just forgot about and couldn't remember. And then, they talked about it and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. So there's always stuff that comes up that, just like one of a mutual friend of you and I, she's like, every time we talk about this, it's like I hear something new. And
yeah,
it's true.
But you know what?
So
I went through the docuseries and I didn't tell her what questions I was going to ask her. I only asked her what didn't she want to discuss. Okay. Right. So when I went through the docuseries, I wrote down questions. I had a couple of questions. Well, I have like 6 questions from somebody else that came in, but I went through watching a documentary and I was jotting down notes. And then, and let me tell you what I did. I was sitting in my office today and I watched episode 3 on my laptop. I logged into Netflix and I watched episode 3. And then I went back and watched like the second half of episode 2 to make sure that I was seeing, hearing what I thought I heard. And that's when I came up, especially when Claire was talking, Claire, who's Catherine's sister. I have a question for you. Were you angry with your parents after it was over?
I was to a certain extent, but remember this whole time that I was able to talk with my parents, it's like time had already passed. So I just was so excited to be home and it was such a relief. Like, keep in mind, we weren't allowed to shave. So when I got home, I took probably a 3-hour freaking shower bath to shave. Like, all the girls had hair longer than
Yep.
like men's hair. We couldn't shave at all because we didn't get to that level. You had to be a level 4 to shave. Some people couldn't wait just to get to level 4 to be able to shave.
Yeah, but that's
So,
that's general hygiene. They were depriving you
Yeah.
yes. Yep.
of that's general hygiene.
Yep. They would not allow us to shave at all. So, I just could not wait to once I got home to have just a relaxing, to be alone. I liked being alone, but then I didn't like being alone to a certain extent. I noticed a lot.
Because you didn't trust anybody.
Yeah. And I got so used to always having someone near me, next to me, beside me, behind me, in front of me. We had to walk in a straight line everywhere we went. We couldn't freely walk around.
Yep.
And you always had to, if I woke up in the middle of the night and I had to use the bathroom, I had to wake up my bunk buddy. And your bunk buddy would change probably like once a month.
So you couldn't go anywhere alone.
Nowhere. And you had to ask permission to do anything.
Oh, okay. That's what the forts. When
The
I
fart.
heard them say they had to ask permission to fort.
Yep.
You ask permission. How do you know you're gonna fart?
Exactly. And they could give you a correction if you did. If you farted, like, and you didn't walk
That's
away.
crazy. So, damn it, Mandy says, were you institutionalized?
This was an institution.
Yeah. So
I mean, like, it wasn't portrayed as that. The parents didn't know that.
Right. I got in trouble when I was, before I got sent there, I got in trouble. I was out with friends, and we got alcohol, we were drinking, and they promised me that they threw out the alcohol. So when we got in my car, all of a sudden, police pulls up, and they were like, "You guys drinking, blah blah blah." And they're like, "Do you have any alcohol in the car?" And I said no, because they told me, the people that were with me told me that they threw it out. Well, they didn't. So I got open container, which was, I think I just missed the law change. You used to get arrested, but now, I don't know if it's like that now, but then you got $1,000 ticket. So I tried to fight it, and I think my father had to go to court for me because I was in that place. So they told the judge she can't come to court because she's in a boarding school. And so the judge ended up waiving everything.
Yeah. So what damn it, Mandy, and I understood what she was saying. So you know how people come out of prison, and we talked about that earlier, damn it, Mandy, that it was hard for her to go back to her regular life because she had spent a year and 2 months, 4 months, whatever it was there. She had spent that time there, no privacy, no nothing. And it was hard for her to even to trust her family because they're, and I'm sorry, Jay, they're the ones that took her there. So so that in that sense, you were institutionalized because it was hard to you to.
There was no trust.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that sense. Yeah. Yep.
So, but and Jay, I want to say thank you for even wanting to come up and discuss this because and I know you said you apologized so many times, but you know what? When you apologize the first time, I think she believed you. She understood it. Maybe I'm wrong, but
no, definitely.
And now that you see it, and I'm sure you've apologized again for just watching this shit.
Yeah,
of course. And
I was calling her up, yelling about it.
Yes, and I'm so grateful to have at least one person. And I'm not saying I only have one person. There were other people in my family who are like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." That's all I need. I don't need anybody to take blame for anything. I don't blame them, but to acknowledge that it was wrong, I was there, and that they're sorry for what happened. That's all I need to hear. But there's certain siblings and certain
What
people in my
about your
family.
brother? That's what I wanted to ask you. What about
My
your brother?
brother is a very he doesn't say much. He's one of those like a man of few words, just like my dad. So he is just like my dad, tough love. So he knows that it was messed up and wrong, and I hope he watches it. But me and him are not close like that, unfortunately. I'm closer with my sister that's on here. I'm closer with her husband, and I consider him my brother. I love my brother, my real biological brother. I love him, but he's so much older, and we didn't get to bond like you get to bond with a sibling.
Yes.
And he's my godfather, so we got to bond when I was younger, but we're not as close. But because me and my sister that's on here now, it was so easy for her to take me there because my parents were always like leaving me with her.
Yeah.
Like they always had her take responsibility over me. So this wasn't like she just wanted to be in the drama and haha, I'm taking you here. It was such a normal thing for my dad to give my older sisters his credit card and be like, okay, go here, go on a trip, I thought I was going to New York City, and I thought we were going to Niagara Falls, which would explain such a long drive because they said we were going to Niagara
I forgot
Falls.
we said Niagara Falls too.
Yes, and then and then my other sister sent me a postcard from like a Niagara Falls postcard saying, I know we didn't get to go here, but if you're good enough, one day we will, or something like that. I was so mad.
I'm sorry.
That's terrible.
I'm sorry.
That's terrible.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. I didn't mean to laugh.
No, I can laugh. I laugh about it. You can laugh now, but at the time when I couldn't do anything about it and I wanted to literally rip her face off, because I have all sisters. There's 6 of us, 5 girls, 1 boy. So when we fought, we would brawl. So I just pictured myself just like, I don't know, just fighting with her. I wanted to kill her. I was so mad. And that was the worst part, was some of the shit my sisters would say in the letters when I couldn't do anything about it. I was so mad. That was torture.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I did not mean to laugh.
Somebody showed up at my house when I had my car. My dad parked my car because I was 17, so I had a car. My dad parked my car in the backyard, and my ex-boyfriend and this girl that he was dating showed up. This girl hated me, absolutely hated me, couldn't wait to be with him. She, of course, got with him because I was gone. Of course. He thought I was never coming back because that's what my other sister told him, that I was gone. I was never coming back. You're never seeing her again. So I don't know why they came here, but I was basically like, I had all my stuff in my car. The girl stole so much stuff out of my car and then dumped bleach and like some liquid over everything. So when my sisters and my dad opened the car, because I kept saying, get my stuff out of my car, put it in my room, put it in my room. By the time they went in there, everything was destroyed.
So when you came back, did you whip her ass?
I wanted to so bad. No.
Damn.
And I don't even care. Her name was Maria. But I don't know. I don't know why she was evil. But no, I didn't get the chance to whoop her. But stuff like that.
Do you want me to go find her for you so we can go tag team?
She was from Cape Verde, so she probably ain't even around.
Okay. Well, if you run into her, just call me. Look, if you run into her, just call. She's probably not with him anymore either, right?
Oh, yeah. No. Oh, hell no. She probably has like 10 kids with 10 different baby daddies by now. Guarantee.
Oh, damn.
Because she already had like 4 different ones. She was just one of those females that just did not care.
I like what Grass Toucher says. Will you please send her a Niagara Falls postcard?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you definitely should do that. Definitely.
I know. Oh, my God. But April Fool's is special, though, because it's your birthday.
It's my birthday.
Well, happy early birthday. I'll remember, and I'm gonna call you to tell you. Look, I'm gonna say, tell Jay happy birthday for me, please.
Yeah.
So let me see. I was trying to see if there's any more questions. I'm getting stuff on my phone right now, and I'm like, why? Watch for her on Murray. Murray doesn't do
Exactly.
shows anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my God. But anyway, I'm looking to make sure I have all. So if you guys have questions after you watch it on the replay, because I see there are all kind of drama lives going on right now. So send your questions or put them in the comments, and I'll make sure to send them to Kay so she can answer them, or if she wants to answer them, not that she has to, but yeah, so I
I'm
will
open.
definitely, yep, she's open. I would definitely want to say thank you. And I'm going to watch this again. And then I think I'm going to send this to my granddaughter and my grandson and tell them this is the kind of place I'm going to put you if you cut up.
I know. We always joke with our kids, and we're like, "Listen, you don't start acting right. You don't want to end up where I ended up." But they don't know to the extent. We just kidding.
No, I scared my grandson so bad one time. He was cutting up in school. Same thing, not listening because he's bored. And I did. But that's only when he was at his mom's. So the teacher actually told me she can tell when he's with me and when he's with his mom. I said, really? She told me. And I told him one day, I said, let me tell you what, keep showing off in school. I said, I will K you and help them find the body. Okay. He just looked at me. He goes, you scare me. I said, be very afraid. I was so serious. I said, be very afraid. I said, and I said, you might be in my trunk still, and they'll be looking for you. And I'll be crying and everything. I'll be leading the search. I'll be crying, telling you. I told him, I said, keep showing off. I said, you're going to, and then he talked to his dad, and his dad told him, he goes, you don't want her to come to your school. You don't ever want my mom to come to your school.
Because he knows
Yeah.
We're not playing around.
I'm not going to wait till we get home. I'm going to tear you up right then and there. So all your classmates can see you want to be a class clown, and this is what you made me do. See?
Yep.
But anyway, I want to say thank you, Jay. Thank you, Kay, so much for sharing your story. I really, really appreciate it. And guys, on Saturday morning, we're going to be dragging motherfuckers. I'm just saying.
And my sister shared your page on her Facebook.
Oh, well, good. So we have two parts. So if you come into this part, go out of this part and go watch the first part, because we were accidentally disconnected, and then come back and watch part 2. But I'm going to make sure that I've labeled the other one part 1, because this was already labeled part 2, but I'll label the other one part 1 so they'll know. But I've really enjoyed the conversation, and just watching this and doing more research, which I am going to do more research. And I really want you to get with your friends on Facebook, because I understand you guys have a group, a private group on Facebook. You guys really need to discuss the class action lawsuit.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You meet the criteria for a class action lawsuit. Yes, we're having church on Saturday, and it's going to be a continuation into Sunday. Okay. So
thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you. I'm gonna say good night to you guys, and then I'm gonna talk to my girl. I'm gonna talk to my chat real quick. Thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. All right, bye. You too, sweeties. Bye. All right, so on Saturday, we're gonna be discussing the Angela and Michael situation. I actually watched your wet socks, and everything he said, I've already said. I want you to see his reaction. We're going to discuss Brandon and Mary. We're going to discuss Gino, which, matter of fact, we might do that tomorrow night. We're going to discuss that. I never wanted to discuss Garrison. I just put up something on my community tab. It's a tragedy. I I didn't want to go live about it, and I'm gonna stand by that. That is something that I'm not going to discuss. That family needs to be left to grieve. Then we're going to discuss Quaylon and Chevelle. There's a lot of threats going on, and on their IGs, and I'm following them all over the place. So definitely, I'm not gonna beat your ass. You're fine. How did I retract that? I have no idea. Did you hit remove? So, so that's what we're going to be doing. But tomorrow night, I am going to be live with Debbie. We're going to do cocktails. So I'm sure matter of fact, we're going to discuss some of this on cocktails. So that's oh my God, Colleen. So you got to watch the first one before you watch this one, because the stream was accidentally ended. So this is part 2. So you need to go to the first one and then you can watch this one, or you can do vice, but it's 2 parts to this one. So I'm going to say good night. You guys know it's 8:25. I'm normally in my bed by now, sleep. I want to say thank each and every one of you for being here. And I really appreciate the support and the support that you showed Kay, the support that you showed to Jay. And I'm telling you, if you know Kay like I know her, she's an exceptional woman. She really is. I'll be there with, I tried tequila rose one time. I think that's the Stella Rose, whatever. Yeah, listen to it. So I want to say good night. Grass Toucher, thank you for all your help. I'll be there with Crystal Rose. It's Crystal Palace, not Crystal Rose. So good night, everybody. I'm going to go take my nice hot bubble bath. I'm going to put Angel Gotti on, and I'm going to listen to her and see what's going on over there in Gotti World. Love you guys. Oh, let me come on. I'm going to tell you, I didn't want to come on camera. I've been working, and I've been, oh my God, in meetings and doing reports, and my eyes, I have bags, and my eyes are tired. So I want to say thank you for being here. And I really, really appreciate each and every one of you. Guys, watch the docuseries. It's called The Program, Cons, Cults, and Kidnapping. It's on Netflix. It premiered yesterday. It's 3 parts. Each part is an hour. Maybe one's an hour and 20 minutes. But you got to watch it. I want to say, love you guys. Good night. Bye.